At 2:47 in the morning, the phone rang 3 times before Marcus Cole opened his eyes. He knew before answering. Warriors learn to trust their instincts. And every instinct was screaming, "Someone you swore to protect is dying." The spit hit her cheek at exactly 6:47 that same evening, 12 hours earlier. But that is not where this story starts. It starts with blood on a hospital floor and a 14-year-old girl who refused to die quietly. Emma Chen, 14 years old, 3 broken ribs, fractured wrist, contusions across her back like someone had used her as a punching bag. The man who did it wore a badge. Richard Garrett, decorated police officer, veteran, respected, untouchable. The girl's stepfather. He claimed it was an accident, said she fell down the stairs, said she was clumsy, emotional, making things up. The doctors didn't believe him. But without proof, without someone willing to fight, she would go home to him in 24 hours. Back to the man who had been breaking her for 2 years. Marcus Cole, 62 years old. United States Marine Corps retired. Sergeant, Desert Storm veteran. Scar running down his left cheek, souvenir from Fallujah in '91. Shrapnel that should have killed him. He runs a motorcycle repair shop in Tucson, Arizona. Lives in the apartment above it, alone. On his wall, one photo, David Chen, Marine uniform, 24 years old. Forever 24. David died in Afghanistan 2009. Roadside bomb. Saved 6 men, including Reaper. David's last words blood soaking into sand. Promise me. Promise me you'll watch over Julie and the baby. Reaper promised. He failed. Tonight he gets one more chance to keep his word. Tucson at 2:47. Desert cold. The kind that seeps into your bones. The Iron Brotherhood Motorcycle Club. Not a gang, a family, 127 members across Arizona and New Mexico. Veterans mostly, men who had seen combat. Men who understood that some promises you don't break. Men who had ridden together for 30 years. Through loss, through pain, through the kind of darkness that breaks lesser men. They were not outlaws. They were husbands, fathers, grandfathers, teachers, mechanics, firefighters. But when one of their own called for help, they became an army. What happened next would mobilize 127 motorcycles, uncover a cop's murder, expose a drug ring stretching across 3 states, and prove that a 14-year-old girl was braver than any warrior Reaper had ever known. This is the story of a promise kept 16 years too late, and the girl who had been waiting for someone to finally show up. The phone rang. Reaper's hand shot out, grabbed it on the 3rd ring. His other hand knocked the lamp. Dog tags scattered across the nightstand. David's dog tags, worn smooth from 16 years of touching. The voice on the line was female professional Myard. Cole, this is Lisa Martinez, New Mexico Child Protective Services. I'm calling about Emma Chen. Reaper's world stopped. The dog tags glinted in the darkness. He sat up, feet hitting cold floor. What happened? She's at Presbyterian Hospital in Albuquerque, admitted 4 hours ago. 3 broken ribs, fractured wrist contusions across her back. Her stepfather says it was an accident. Was it silence? Long enough that Reaper could hear his own heartbeat. Miss Martinez, was it an accident? The doctors don't think so. But her stepfather is a decorated police officer, and unless we find grounds for emergency removal, she goes home to him in 24 hours. Reaper was already pulling on jeans. How far? You're in Tucson, 620 miles. That's about 9 hours if you... I'll be there in 8. Don't let her leave, Mr. Cole. I need to explain the... He hung up, stood there in the dark, breathing hard. On the wall, David stared back at him from the photo. Desert camo smile that could light up a room 3 months before a roadside bomb turned him into memory. David's last words echoed in Reaper's head. Every single day for 16 years. Promise me, Reaper. Promise me you'll watch over Sarah and the baby. I promise, brother. 16 years. 16 years of telling himself the girl was fine, that Garrett had it handled, that Reaper was not needed anymore. I'm sorry, Jake. I'm coming now. He dialed tank. 4 rings. The voice that answered was groggy, irritated. Whoever this is better be dying. It's Reaper. I need the club, everyone. We ride at dawn. Reaper, it's 3 in the morning. What? David Chen's daughter, 14 years old, in the hospital. Stepfather's a cop and he put her there. They're sending her back to him tomorrow unless we stop it. Pause. Then where Albuquerque? That's over 600 miles, I know. How many you want? Everyone who can throw a leg over. Give me 2 hours. I'll make it happen. Reaper called Jonathan next. Former Iron Brotherhood, now a defense attorney in Phoenix. The voice that answered was sharp despite the hour. Do you know what time it is? I need emergency custody papers filed tonight. Girl being abused by a cop. The sleep cleared from Jonathan's voice. Details. Reaper laid it out in 90 seconds. Emma Chen, 14 Presbyterian Hospital. Richard Garrett, stepfather, decorated officer, 24-hour deadline. I'll file electronically within the hour. But Reaper, if he's connected, this won't be easy. Cops protect their own. I don't need easy. I need her safe. I'm driving up. Meet you there. Thank you, brother. Next call, Doc. 73 years old. Toughest man Reaper ever knew. Combat medic in Vietnam, still carried the scars. The voice that answered was surprisingly alert. Someone better be dying. David Chen's daughter, riding to get her at dawn. Need you, I'm in. Who else, everyone? Tanks rounding them up. Saddle up, son. See you in 90. Reaper made 6 more calls. Every single one answered the same way. I'm in. Nina, trauma nurse, lost her brother to a cop's bullet that was covered up. Professor, high school teacher, voice of reason. Wrench mechanic, female, earned respect through skill. Ghost surveillance expert, barely spoke, but never missed a detail. Jimbo, construction worker, father of 2. Carlos owned an RV, always ready for the long haul. That is what the Iron Brotherhood was. Not outlaws, just people who understood that some promises you don't break. By 4:30, Reaper was geared up. Leather vest, Iron Brotherhood patch across his back boots, worn smooth from 10,000 miles. He walked into the garage. His Harley Road King waited in the shadows. Black chrome built from scrap and stubbornness after Afghanistan. He kicked it to life. The engine roared. One more promise, old girl. By 5, the truck stop parking lot was half full of motorcycles. Diesel fuel smell mixing with motor oil and leather. Reaper rolled in, killed his engine, counted the bikes. 50, 60, 70. Tank saw him first. 6'4", bearded to his chest, 245 pounds of muscle and loyalty. He raised a fist. The president's here. Reaper dismounted, looked at the assembled riders. Doc rolled up on his trike, the 3-wheeler he needed since his left leg did not bend right anymore. Told you you'd have your army. Nina walked over, the club's only female rider, gray hair, in a braid, trauma nurse scrubs under her leather. Tank told us. David's daughter. Right, yeah, then we ride. Professor, high school English teacher, called out from his bike. Reaper, what's the play? When we get there, we show up. We stand witness. We make sure that hospital knows she's not alone. What if the cops try to move us? We stay peaceful, but we don't leave. Ghost, the quietest rider in the club, spoke up. What if they take her anyway? Then the whole world watches them do it. More bikes rolled in. The rumble echoed across the empty highway. 80, 90, 100. Tank walked up. 127 riders, brother. Everyone who could make it showed. Reaper's throat tightened. 127. 3 support vehicles, 2. Wrench's truck, Carlos's RV, another van for supplies. Doc limped over. I knew David. Good man, good soldier. He'd do this for any of our kids. Reaper turned to face them all. Most of you never met David Chen. He died in 2009, saving 6 men, including me. Before he died, he made me promise to watch over his daughter. He paused, the words catching. I failed. I let some badge-wearing bastard convince me he had it covered. Now she's broken because I didn't keep my word. Silence. Absolute silence except for the wind. We're riding 620 miles to Albuquerque. We're not going in hot. We're standing witness. When we get there, that girl needs to see that someone showed up, that she's not alone, that someone gives a damn. Nina stepped forward. What if security stops us? Then we comply. But we don't leave the lot. What if Garrett's there with backup? Tank grinned, dangerous. Then we outnumber him, 127 to 1. Jimbo, construction, foreman, called out from the back. Reaper, what if this blows back on us? Cops see 127 bikers rolling up. They're going to think gang. Let them think it. We know who we are. Doc shook his head. Jim's got a point. We need to be smart about this. Tension rippled through the group. Tank crossed his arms. Doc, you saying we shouldn't go? I'm saying we go smart. No colors inside the hospital, no loud voices. We make ourselves look like concerned citizens, not a mob. Reaper nodded. Doc's right. When we arrive, we park clean, 2 straight lines, engines off. We walk in calm hands, visible, respectful. But we don't apologize for being there. Nina raised her hand. What about recording if Garrett tries something we need proof, someone documents? But quietly, no phones and faces. We're not there to provoke. Professor stepped forward. One more thing, Reaper. What's her name? Lily Morrison. 14. Brown hair, blue eyes. Reaper caught himself. Emma Chen. 14. Brown hair, blue eyes, like David's. Professor nodded. Then let's go to get Emma. Doc raised his coffee thermos. To promises kept. 127 voices. To promises kept. They mounted up. Reaper kicked his Harley to life, rolled to the front, looked back at his family. Steel wolves, we ride for Emma. The convoy pulled onto the highway. 127 engines, one mission. They rode hard. 2 columns, staggered formation, professional. Hour 1. Reaper's phone buzzed. Jonathan, emergency petition filed. Hearing tomorrow, 9 a.m. Judge Patricia Walsh. She's fair but tough. Garrett's already lawyered up. Union rep making calls. This is war. Reaper showed Tank. It's going to be a fight. Good. We brought an army. Hour 2 gas stop in Silver City. Nina handed out water and granola bars. Stay hydrated. It's going to be a long day. Reaper stood apart, checked his phone. No new messages from Lisa Martinez. Tank walked over. You good? No. What happens if we get there and they've already released her? Reaper's jaw clenched. Then we go to Garrett's house. That's a line, Reaper. I know, but I'm not leaving her there. Doc joined them. You got a backup plan because cops don't like being embarrassed, especially dirty ones. Jonathan is our backup. Legal pressure, public pressure. And if that doesn't work, Reaper looked at him. Then we pray it does. Because the alternative is something I swore I'd never do again. They remounted, rolled back onto the highway. Hour 3, New Mexico border. Reaper's phone rang. Lisa Martinez, Mr. Cole, where are you? 2 hours out. Is she still there? Yes, but Garrett's here with 2 attorneys. They're pushing hard for immediate discharge. The doctors are stalling, but we're running out of time. Keep her there. Mr. Cole, how many people are you bringing? Enough. That's not an answer. 127. Dead silence. Miss Martinez. Mr. Cole, if you bring a motorcycle gang into this hospital, not a gang, a family, we'll be there in 2 hours. Don't let them take her. He hung up. Hour 6, Albuquerque city limits. The sun was starting to drop, golden light cutting across the highway. Reaper pulled off at a rest stop. The convoy followed, 127 bikes silent. Everyone dismounted, last check. When we roll in, we do it calm. We park orderly. 2 lines, no revving, no yelling. We walk in like we belong. Because we do. Ghost raised his hand. What if Garrett's waiting with cops? Then we stay polite. But we don't move. Jimbo spoke up again. Reaper, I gotta be straight with you. I got 2 kids at home. If this goes sideways, if we get arrested, then leave now, no judgment. This is my promise, not yours. Jimbo looked around at the other riders at Doc at Tank. Nah, I'm in. Just wanted to say it out loud. Doc clapped him on the shoulder. We're all thinking it, Jim, but sometimes you gotta stand up even when it scares you. Nina checked her phone. I'm getting text. Someone leaked this on social media. People know we're coming. Reaper's eyes narrowed. Who leaked it? Don't know, but there's already a hashtag. Promise kept. Tank grinned. Good. Let the world watch. Reaper took a breath. All right, let's go. They mounted up one last time. Engines roared. The convoy rolled toward Presbyterian Hospital. They came down Alameda Boulevard like thunder. The rumble reached the hospital first. Windows rattled. People stopped. Reaper led the formation into the parking lot, guided his riders into 2 perfect lines. 127 bikes. 127 riders' engines cut silence. They dismounted, stood beside their machines. Reaper walked toward the entrance, Tank, Doc, and Nina behind him. The automatic doors opened. The lobby went dead quiet. Nurses froze. Visitors stared. 2 security guards reached for radios. Lisa Martinez appeared from the hallway, saw Reaper, saw the sea of leather through the glass doors. Oh my God. Reaper walked up to her. Lisa Martinez, I'm Marcus Cole. Where's Emma? Lisa's hand shook. Third floor room 314. But her stepfather, I know. I need 5 minutes with her. Just 5. You're not family. I can't. That girl's father died in my arms. 5 minutes. Let her know she's not alone. Lisa looked at him, at the lines in his face, at the pain in his eyes. She looked past him. 127 riders silent waiting. 5 minutes. If security comes, they won't need to. She nodded. Follow me. They walked to the elevator. Doors closed. Why 127 people, Lisa asked. Because she needs to know someone cares, not just me. A family. Third floor room 314. Lisa stopped outside. Garrett's in the waiting area with his lawyers. He doesn't know you're here yet. Good. Reaper pushed the door open. The room was dim. Medical equipment beeped. In the bed, small and broken, was Emma. She looked exactly like David. Her eyes opened. Confused. Then Uncle Reaper. He crossed to her, knelt, took her hand. Hey, kiddo, I'm here. I'm sorry I took so long. Tears streamed down her face. He said no one would come. He said I was lying. I believe you. And I brought some people who believe you too. What people? Look outside. Lisa helped her sit up. Emma turned to the window. From the third floor, she could see the parking lot. 127 motorcycles, 127 riders. Her breath caught. Who are they? Your dad's family. My family. They rode 600 miles to stand with you. She sobbed. Reaper held her hand. Emma, I need you to tell me the truth. Did Richard Garrett do this? She nodded. Has he done it before? Your mom? What happened to her? Emma's voice went cold, flat. He killed her. The room froze. Lisa gasped. Reaper leaned closer. Are you sure? I saw it. They were fighting about money, about leaving. He pushed her down the stairs. Then he put her in the car and crashed it into the tree. Told everyone she was drunk. But she wasn't. She was trying to save me. Rage flooded Reaper's veins, cold-focused. But his voice stayed calm. Okay, you're never going back there. You hear me? Never. But he's a cop. And there are 127 witnesses outside. A lawyer filing papers right now. Everyone's about to know your story. Promise. On your father's grave. The door slammed open. A man in uniform stood there. 2 suits flanking him. Officer Richard Garrett. Tall, clean-cut, cold eyes. Who the hell are you? Reaper stood, placed himself between Garrett and the bed. The man who made a promise to her father. Garrett's face twisted. David's biker buddy. You need to leave. Now, no. One of the lawyers stepped forward. Sir, you have no legal standing. Leave or we'll have you removed. Reaper smiled. No warmth. Check the window first. Garrett walked to the glass, saw the parking lot. His face went white. What the hell is this? That's family. Something you wouldn't know about. Garrett's hand moved toward his belt, toward his gun. Don't, Reaper said. You pull that weapon in front of her with 127 witnesses watching, your career's over. Garrett's hand froze. Lisa stepped forward. Officer Garrett, I've filed a report with CPS. An emergency custody hearing is scheduled for tomorrow morning. On whose authority? Mine. Jonathan walked in. Suit, briefcase. Jonathan Pierce, counsel for Marcus Cole. Emergency petition filed. Judge Walsh hears it at 9 a.m. Garrett's face went purple. She's my daughter. Stepdaughter, Jonathan corrected. And the evidence says otherwise. Garrett pointed at Reaper. You brought a gang to intimidate. I brought witnesses. 127 people saying Emma Chen deserves better than you. Garrett lunged forward. Tank appeared in the doorway, stepped between them. That'd be a mistake, officer. Garrett's lawyer grabbed his arm. Richard, we're leaving. We'll handle this in court. Garrett stabbed a finger at Reaper. This isn't over. Reaper's voice was ice. You're right. It's just beginning. Garrett stormed out. Lawyers followed. The door closed. Emma was crying, but different now. Relief. Reaper knelt again. You're safe now. I'm scared. I know, but you're not alone anymore. Outside, the sun was setting. 127 riders stood in the parking lot, silent, waiting, guarding a girl they had never met. Because promises matter. Because family is not blood, it is loyalty. And Marcus Reaper Cole was not breaking another promise. Not ever again. Garrett's footsteps echoed down the hallway, fading, but the threat hung in the air like smoke. Reaper stayed at Emma's bedside, his hand still holding hers. "What happens now?" she whispered. "Now we make sure you're protected 24/7 until that hearing tomorrow." Lisa stepped closer. "Mr. Cole, hospital policy won't allow." "Then we stay outside in the parking lot all night if we have to." Jonathan set his briefcase on the visitor chair. "Reaper's right. Garrett knows he's losing control. That makes him dangerous. We need eyes on this room until the judge rules." Lisa looked torn. "I can request a security detail, but Garrett's a cop," Jonathan finished. "He has friends on the force. We can't trust that." Reaper stood. "How long before they discharge her?" Lisa checked her tablet. "Dr. Warren wants to keep her overnight for observation. The ribs need monitoring. But if Garrett pushes with his lawyers, they could override the medical recommendation. Then we make it impossible for him to push." Tank appeared in the doorway. "Reaper, we got a situation downstairs." Reaper squeezed Emma's hand. "I'll be right back, kiddo. Nina's going to stay with you. She's a nurse. You're safe." Nina moved to the bedside immediately, pulled up a chair. "Hey, sweetheart, I'm Nina. Let's check those bandages." "Okay." Emma nodded, still scared but less alone. Reaper followed Tank into the hallway. Doc was there too, and 3 hospital security guards. The head guard nameplate said Torres held up a hand. "Sir, I need you and your people to clear the parking lot. We've had complaints." "Complaints from who?" "That's not relevant. You're creating a disturbance." Reaper kept his voice level. "We're parked legally. Engines off, no noise." "What disturbance?" Torres shifted his weight. "Look, I don't want trouble, but if you don't move, I'll have to call the police." "Call them." Torres blinked. "Excuse me? Call the police. We're not breaking any laws. We're here to make sure that girl stays safe." One of the other guards, younger, nervous, spoke up. "Safe from what?" "From the cop who put her here." Torres' expression changed. "You're talking about Officer Garrett." "I'm talking about a man who beats children." The young guard looked at Torres. "Chief, if that's true, we don't know what's true," Torres said quickly, but doubt flickered in his eyes. "Look, I'm just doing my job. The hospital administrator wants you gone." Doc stepped forward. "Son, we rode 600 miles to stand with that girl. We're not leaving. If you want us gone, you'll have to arrest 127 people. And I promise you every camera out there will catch it." Torres looked past them. Through the window, the parking lot was visible. 127 riders, some sitting on their bikes, others standing in small groups, all of them waiting. His radio crackled. "Torres, what's the status?" He pressed the button, still assessing. "Sir, the situation is complicated. I want them gone in 10 minutes. Torres released the button and looked at Reaper. "I can't let you stay inside the building, but the parking lot is public property. If you stay peaceful, I won't push it." Reaper nodded. "We'll stay peaceful. And if Garrett comes back, then we stay between him and that room." Torres studied him for a long moment, then nodded. "All right, but if anything escalates, it won't. You have my word." The guards left. Tank exhaled. "That was close." "It's going to get closer," Doc said. "Garrett's not done. Guys like him don't back down." Reaper's phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "You made a big mistake. That girl is mine. Back off or this gets ugly." He showed it to Tank. "That from Garrett." "Has to be." Doc read it over Tank's shoulder. "He's threatening you. Let him. Reaper, this could go bad fast. It's already bad. Now we make it right." Jonathan joined them from the room. "I just got off with Judge Walsh's clerk. The hearing is confirmed for 9 a.m., but Garrett's lawyer filed a counterpetition. They're claiming you're a dangerous influence gang affiliation trying to paint the Iron Brotherhood as criminals. We're not criminals. I know. But optics matter. We need character witnesses, people who can testify to your relationship with David and Emma." Reaper thought fast. Carol and Bill, David's parents. They knew me. They trusted me with Emma. "Where are they, Phoenix? I haven't talked to them since Julie died. Call them tonight. We need them at that hearing." Reaper nodded, pulled out his phone, scrolled through old contacts, found Carol Chen. His finger hovered over the call button. What if they blamed him? What if they thought he should have protected Julie too? "Reaper," Jonathan said gently. "Make the call." He pressed dial. It rang 4 times. Then hello. Carol's voice, older, tired. "Carol, it's Marcus Cole." Reaper, silence long enough that he thought she had hung up. Reaper, my God, it's been years. I know, I'm sorry. I should have called sooner. Where are you, Albuquerque? At Presbyterian Hospital. With Emma. Another pause. Emma's in the hospital. Richard Garrett put her there. Broken ribs, fractured wrist. And she told me he killed Julie. He heard her breath catch. What Emma says, it wasn't an accident. That Garrett pushed Julie down the stairs, then staged the car crash. Carol, I need you to listen. Where's Richard now? He was here, but we sent him away. There's a custody hearing tomorrow morning. I filed for emergency guardianship. You, Reaper, you haven't been in her life for I know. And I'm sorry, I failed David. I failed Julie Webb, but I'm not failing Emma. Not anymore. I need you and Bill to come to that hearing. I need you to tell the judge that David trusted me, that I'm not who Garrett's lawyers are going to say I am. Carol was crying now, soft, broken. I knew something was wrong. After Julie died, Emma stopped calling, stopped visiting. Garrett always had an excuse. Carol, please, can you come? We'll be there first thing tomorrow. Reaper, thank you. Thank you for not giving up on her. His throat tightened. I gave up once, not again. He hung up, looked at Jonathan. They'll be there. Good, that helps. Now we need to survive the night. They walked back to Emma's room. Nina was sitting with her, talking quietly. Emma's eyes were red but calmer. How is she? Reaper asked. Vitals are stable, but she needs rest, and she needs to feel safe. Reaper knelt beside the bed again. Emma, I'm going to be right outside this room all night. So is Nina. So are 127 other people. Garrett can't get to you, not tonight, not ever again. What if the judge says I have to go back? That's not going to happen. But what if then we fight, and we keep fighting until you're safe? I promise. She looked at him, searching his face. Why, you didn't have to come. Yes, I did. I made your dad a promise. And David was my brother. That makes you family. I don't even remember him. I know. But he loved you more than anything. And he'd want you protected. So that's what we're doing. Emma's hand tightened around his. Don't leave. I won't. Nina stood. I'll get some blankets. Looks like we're camping out. Tank poked his head in. Reaper were setting up shifts outside. 8 riders on duty at a time, rotating every 3 hours. Torres gave us permission to use the benches by the entrance. Good. Make sure someone's got eyes on every entrance. Garrett tries to come back, and I want to know immediately. Copy that. Doc appeared next. Reaper, we got press showing up. Local news. Someone tipped them off. Let them film. I want everyone to see this. You sure could backfire. Or it puts pressure on Garrett. Let the world watch. Jonathan pulled out his phone. I'll prep a statement. Keep it simple. Concerned citizens ensuring a child's safety. Nothing inflammatory. Reaper nodded. Turned back to Emma. You doing okay? I'm tired. Then sleep. We'll be right here. But she did not let go of his hand. Will you tell me about my dad? Reaper's chest ached. Yeah, I can do that. He pulled a chair closer, settled in. Your dad was the toughest guy I ever met. Not because he was big or mean, but because he never quit. Never left anyone behind. What did he look like? Like you. Same eyes, same stubborn chin. He smiled. He used to say you got your mom's kindness in his hard head. Emma almost smiled. Almost. We were in Afghanistan together. Different units, but we crossed paths in Helmand province. Got pinned down by enemy fire one day. Your dad didn't have to help us, but he did. Ran straight into the firefight to pull 2 wounded soldiers out. That's who he was? How did he die? Reaper paused, choosing his words carefully. He saved 6 men, including me. ID went off. He pushed me out of the way. Took the blast himself. Did it hurt? No, sweetheart. It was fast. But before he went, he made me promise to watch over you and your mom. And I kept that promise for a while, but then I let you down. I walked away when I should have stayed. Why? Because I was stupid. I thought Garrett would take care of you. I thought you didn't need me anymore. Emma's eyes were heavy now, fighting sleep. Do you think my dad would be mad at you? Yeah, I think he'd be furious. But I also think he'd forgive me if I made it right. Is that what you're doing, making it right? That's what I'm trying to do. She closed her eyes. Okay. Within minutes, she was asleep. Reaper stayed in the chair, hands still in hers. Nina came back with blankets, draped one over Emma, handed one to Reaper. You should rest too, she said quietly. Can't. Not until she's safe. Reaper, you're no good to her exhausted. I'll rest when it's over. Nina sighed, pulled up another chair. Then I'll stay up with you. You don't have to. Yeah, I do. That's what family does. They sat in silence for a while. The hospital hummed around them, machines beeping footsteps in the hallway, distant voices. Around midnight, Tank texted. News van just pulled up. Channel 7. They want a statement. Reaper showed it to Jonathan. I'll handle it, Jonathan said. You stay with Emma. He left. Came back 20 minutes later. How'd it go, Reaper asked. Good. Kept it clean. Said we're here to ensure a child's safety during a custody dispute. Didn't mention Garrett by name, but the reporter connected the dots. It'll run on the morning news. Garrett's going to lose his mind. Good. Let him. The more he reacts, the worse he looks. Around 1, Emma stirred, woke up crying. Hey, hey, Reaper said softly. You're okay. You're safe. I had a dream about my mom. She was trying to tell me something, but I couldn't hear her. Nina moved closer. That's normal, honey. Your mind is processing a lot right now. I miss her. I know. Garrett said she left because she didn't love me anymore. But that's not true, is it? Reaper's voice went hard. No, that's a lie. Your mom loved you more than anything. Then why didn't she take me with her? Because she didn't leave Emma. Garrett killed her, and we're going to prove it. How, I don't know yet. But we will, I promise, she wiped her eyes. I'm scared to go to court tomorrow. I'll be right there with you. So will Carol and Bill, your grandparents. They're coming. Emma's eyes widened. My grandparents? I haven't seen them in 2 years. Garrett said they didn't want to see me. Another lie. They're coming first thing in the morning. Fresh tears, but different. Relief mixed with grief. Can I meet the people outside, the ones who came for me? Reaper looked at Nina. She nodded. Yeah, he said. When you're feeling stronger, they'd love to meet you. What are their names? There's Tank, big guy, big heart. Doc, he's the oldest, 73 and tougher than nails. Ghost who barely talks but would walk through fire for you. Professor who teaches English. Nana here, and 90 more just like them. Why did they come? Because when someone needs help, you show up. That's what family does. Emma lay back down. I wish my dad was here. Me too, kiddo. Me too. She drifted off again. Reaper's phone buzzed. Another text from the unknown number. Last warning. Drop this or people get hurt. He showed it to Tank, who just walked in with coffee. He's desperate, Tank said. That's good. Means he's losing. Or means he's about to do something stupid. Doc joined them, got word from Torres. Garrett tried to come back an hour ago, demanded access. Torres told him visiting hours were over. Garrett threatened to have him fired. Did Torres hold? Yeah. Said hospital policy is hospital policy even for cops. Garrett left, but he was pissed. He'll be back, probably with a warrant or something. Jonathan overheard. He can't get a warrant without cause, and a judge won't issue one in the middle of the night for a custody dispute. You sure about that? Doc asked. No, but it's unlikely. We just need to make it to 9 a.m. Then we're in front of Walsh. The night dragged on. Reaper dozed in the chair. Woke every time Emma moved. Nina stayed close, checking vitals, adjusting blankets. Around 4, Professor came in. Shift change. I'm on duty now. Go get some air. Reaper. 5 minutes. You're no use to her if you collapse. Reluctantly, Reaper stood, stretched, walked into the hallway. The hospital was quieter now, just the night shift. A few nurses, security making rounds. He walked to the elevator, rode down to the lobby, stepped outside. The parking lot was lit by streetlights. 127 bikes still there. Riders sitting on benches drinking coffee from thermoses. Some sleeping in their trucks. Others standing watch. Ghost saw him. Walked over. How's the girl? Scared. But hanging in. She's tough. Like her old man. Yeah. They stood in silence for a moment. Reaper Ghost said quietly, what happens if the judge rules against you? We appeal. Fight it. And if Garrett takes her before that Reaper's jaw set, then we stop him. Legally, preferably. Ghost nodded slowly. You know we're with you. Whatever it takes. I know. That's what scares me. I don't want anyone getting hurt because of my promise. It's not just your promise anymore. It's ours now too. We all saw that girl. We all heard her story. This is bigger than you. Reaper looked at the assembled riders, his family, his brothers and sisters, all of them here because he asked. I hope we're doing the right thing. We are. Sometimes the right thing looks like chaos, but that doesn't make it wrong. Tank walked over, handed Reaper a fresh coffee. Sun's coming up in 2 hours, court's in 5. You ready? No. But we're going anyway. Doc joined them. Just got a text from Jonathan. Garrett's lawyer filed another motion trying to delay the hearing. Will it work? Jonathan says no. Walsh hates delays. She'll hear it at 9. Good. Torres appeared from the entrance, walked over. Mr. Cole got a minute. Reaper nodded. They stepped aside. Torres looked uncomfortable. Look, I don't know the full story, but I've been watching the news, saw the coverage. And I called a buddy of mine who works Garrett's district. He told me Garrett's got a reputation. Short-tempered complaints that never go anywhere. My buddy said he's not surprised about this. Why are you telling me? Because that little girl deserves better. And because I got 2 daughters of my own. If someone was hurting them, I'd hope someone like you would show up. He paused. I'm not supposed to say this, but if Garrett tries to take her before the hearing, I'll stall him. Give you time to get a judge on the phone. Reaper extended his hand. Thank you. Torres shook it. Don't make me regret this. You won't. Torres walked back inside. The sky was starting to lighten gray, turning to pale blue. Tank checked his watch. 4:30. 4.5 hours to go. Let's make sure everyone's ready. Fresh shifts, eyes on every door. And someone needs to get breakfast. We're going to need our strength. On it, Doc said. Reaper stayed behind. Ghost stayed too. Reaper, what happens after the hearing? If you win custody, then I figure out how to raise a 14-year-old girl. You ready for that? No. But I'll learn. She's going to need more than you. Therapy supports stability. I know. I'll figure it out. Doc returned. You won't be doing it alone. You got 127 people who just proved they'll drop everything for this girl. We're not walking away after today. Reaper's voice caught. I don't deserve you guys. Probably not. But you're stuck with us anyway. They stood there as the sun began to rise. 127 riders. One girl, one promise, in 5 hours until everything changed. Part 2. Rewritten? 500 words. By 6:15, the hospital parking lot looked like a military encampment. Riders sat on their bikes nursing coffee from thermoses. Others stretched cramped legs after the all-night vigil. Nina made rounds with a first aid kit, checking on anyone who looked worse for wear. Reaper walked back upstairs. His body ached, eyes burned, but adrenaline kept him sharp. He pushed open the door to room 314. Emma was awake, sitting up carefully. Professor sat in the corner, reading aloud from a fantasy paperback. Something about dragons and quests. Uncle Reaper. Emma's voice was stronger now. Hey, kiddo. How you feeling? Sore. But better. Professor's been keeping me company. Professor closed the book. She's got excellent taste. Her dad would approve. David loved this stuff. Really used to read Tolkien on deployment. Said it reminded him there was still magic in the world. Emma almost smiled. I wish I remembered him better. You will. Reaper pulled the chair closer. But right now we need to talk about today. The hearing. Her face tensed. Do I have to see him? Garrett will be there, but so will I. So will Jonathan, your grandparents, and a courtroom full of people who believe you. What if the judge doesn't? Then we appeal. We keep fighting. Emma, I need you to be honest with the judge. Tell her everything. About what Garrett did. About your mom. Her hands twisted the blanket. What if I freeze, then Jonathan helps you through it? You just answer his questions. Take your time. It's okay to cry. It's okay to be scared. Just tell the truth. What happens if the judge says, I have to go back? Reaper's voice went hard. That's not happening. I don't care what any judge says. You're done with Garrett forever. How can you promise that? Because I have 127 people outside who won't let it happen. Because your grandparents are driving here right now. Because I'm not walking away again. Not ever. Tears rolled down her cheeks. I'm so tired of being scared. I know, sweetheart. But after today, things change. We win this hearing. You come home with me. We figure out the rest as we go. A knock on the door. Jonathan entered with Carol and Bill Chen. Carol saw Emma and rushed to the bed, wrapped her arms around her granddaughter as gently as she could. Both sobbing. I'm so sorry, baby. We should have known. We should have fought harder. He told me you didn't want to see me. That's a lie, sweetheart. We called every week. He blocked us from you. Bill approached, weathered face streaked with tears. He put a hand on Emma's head. Your dad would be so proud of you. I miss him, Grandpa. Me too. Every single day. Jonathan checked his watch. We need to leave in 40 minutes. Courthouse is 20 minutes away. We should arrive early. What about Emma? Nina asked. She's not officially discharged. Dr. Warren signed off an hour ago. Against medical advice, but she approved it. Jonathan pulled paperwork from his briefcase. I've got everything we need. Carol opened a bag. Emma, I brought clothes. Something of your mom's from when she was your age. I thought you might want to wear something of hers today. Emma's eyes welled. Really, really, sweetheart. Carol helped her into a simple blue dress. When Emma looked in the mirror, she saw her mother staring back. She's with you today, Carol whispered. She's with you every day. By 8, they were ready to move. Reaper led the core group downstairs. Tank, Doc, Nina, Professor Ghost. The lobby was packed with supporters now. Hospital staff, visitors who had followed the story, even a few off-duty cops who believed in justice over badges. Torres met them at the entrance. Media's outside. It's intense. Let them watch. They stepped outside. Cameras flashed. Reporters shouted questions. And there, across the parking lot, stood Richard Garrett. 20 cops in uniform behind him. Arms crossed, faces hard. Keep walking, Reaper said quietly. They moved forward. The Iron Brotherhood formed a protective circle around Emma. Tank up front. Doc and Ghost on flanks. Professor bringing up the rear. Garrett stepped forward. That's my daughter. Keep walking, Jonathan commanded. I said, that's my daughter. Reaper stopped, looked Garrett dead in the eye. She's not yours. She never was. You're kidnapping her. I'm protecting her. There's a difference. One of Garrett's cops, young and nervous, stepped forward. Sir, you need to return the child. Jonathan pulled out a document. Emergency custody order, signed by Judge Walsh's clerk at midnight. We have legal standing? You don't. The young cop read it, handed it back. Sir, they're clear. We can't stop them. The hell we can't. But an older cop, Sergeant Stripes, visible, spoke up. Dan, this isn't the place. Let the judge handle it. You're with me or against me, Carver. Carver's face hardened. I'm with the law, and right now, the law says they can move her. Back off. Garrett's hand moved toward his gun. Tank stepped between them instantly. Don't. 3 seconds of tension. Nobody moved. Then Garrett lowered his hand. You're done, Daniels. You and your gang. Done. We'll see. They loaded Emma into Jonathan's car. Carol and Bill climbed in the back with her. 40 Iron Brotherhood motorcycles formed an escort. The convoy rolled through Albuquerque's morning streets like a parade. People on sidewalks stopped to watch. Some raised fists in solidarity. Others held up signs. Justice for Emma. Believe survivors. Protect children. At the courthouse, the steps were packed. Reporters, supporters, curious onlookers, and more cops. So many cops. Jonathan parked in front. Reaper opened the door, helped Emma out carefully. I can't do this, Emma whispered. Yes, you can. There's too many people. They're here for you, to support you. You're not alone. Carol took her hand. Your mom was brave. You're her daughter. You can be brave too. Emma took a breath, nodded. They walked up the steps. The Iron Brotherhood formed 2 lines in honor guard, 40 riders standing at attention. As Emma passed between them, each rider saluted. Doc first, then Tank, then Ghost. One by one, every rider saluted. Emma looked up at Reaper. Why are they doing that? Because you're family, and family honors family. Inside, security was tripled. Metal detectors, bag searches, uniformed officers everywhere. They rode the elevator to the 3rd floor. Family Court Department 7. Judge Patricia Walsh presiding. The courtroom was already 3/4 full. Jonathan guided them to the plaintiff's table. Reaper sat beside Emma, Carol and Bill behind them. Across the aisle, Garrett sat with his legal team. 2 attorneys in expensive suits. The lead attorney, middle-aged with silver hair, leaned over. Mr. Cole, I'm Vincent Shaw. I represent Officer Garrett. This is nothing personal, just doing my job. Your job is defending a child abuser. Shaw's smile didn't waver. Alleged abuse. Let's let the judge decide. The bailiff stood. All rise. The Honorable Judge Patricia Walsh presiding. Everyone stood. Judge Walsh entered. 60 years old, sharp eyes, no-nonsense expression. She sat opened a folder. Be seated. Case number JV2254471. Emergency petition for guardianship. Marcus Cole versus Richard Garrett. Mr. Pierce, you're representing the petitioner. Jonathan stood. Yes, Your Honor. And Mr. Shaw for the respondent. Correct, Your Honor. Walsh looked at Emma. Her expression softened slightly. Young lady, what's your name? Emma's voice was barely audible. Emma Chen. How old are you? 14. Do you understand why you're here today? Yes, ma'am. Good. We're going to ask some questions. I want you to be honest. Can you do that? I'll try. That's all I ask. Walsh turned to the attorneys. Gentlemen, I've reviewed the emergency petition and the response. Mr. Pierce, you're alleging abuse, neglect, and endangerment. Serious accusations. They are your honor, and we have evidence to support them. I hope so. Mr. Shaw, your client maintains innocence and claims this is a custody grab by an uninvolved third party with gang affiliations. Shaw stood. That's correct, Your Honor. Mr. Cole hasn't been in Emma's life for years. He shows up with a motorcycle gang, intimidates hospital staff, and now claims guardianship. This is grandstanding. Jonathan responded immediately. Mr. Cole is the godfather designated by Emma's biological father before his death in military service. He maintained contact until Officer Garrett systematically isolated Emma. And the Iron Brotherhood is a veterans organization, not a gang. They rode 600 miles to ensure Emma's safety because no one else would. Walsh held up a hand. Enough. I'll hear testimony and make my own determination. Mr. Pierce, call your first witness. The petitioner calls Marcus Cole. Reaper stood, walked to the witness stand. The bailiff swore him in. Jonathan approached. State your name for the record. Marcus Michael Cole. What is your relationship to Emma Chen? I served with her father, David Chen, in Afghanistan. Before he died, he made me promise to watch over his daughter. I'm her godfather. Did you maintain contact with Emma after David's death? Yes. For years. I sent money, called every month, visited on birthdays, until her stepfather made it clear I wasn't welcome. When did that happen? About 2 years ago, after Julie, Emma's mother, died. What happened then? Garrett cut off all contact, wouldn't return calls, wouldn't let me visit. I tried for months. Eventually, I stopped trying. That's my biggest regret. What made you reach out again? I got a call from a social worker at 2:47 a.m. 2 days ago. She told me Emma was in the hospital with multiple injuries. That's when I knew I had failed her, and that I had to make it right. Shaw stood. Objection. The witness is testifying to conclusions. Sustained. Mr. Cole, stick to what you observed. Jonathan continued. What did you observe when you arrived at the hospital? A 14-year-old girl with 3 broken ribs, a fractured wrist, and bruises covering her back. She was terrified. No further questions. Shaw stood, approached the witness stand with a predatory smile. Mr. Cole, you said you're Emma's godfather. Is that a legal designation? Personal. David asked me to watch over her, but there's no paperwork. So legally, you're just a friend of the family. I'm the man her father trusted. Her father who died 16 years ago. And in those 16 years, how many times did you actually see Emma? I don't know. 20, maybe 30 times. Less than twice a year. Shaw let that sink in. Mr. Cole, you're a member of a motorcycle club called the Iron Brotherhood. Correct? Yes. Do any members have criminal records? Reaper hesitated. Some minor things, traffic violations. And you thought bringing 127 people with criminal histories to a hospital was appropriate. They're good people. Mr. Cole, isn't it true that you haven't held a steady job in 3 years? Jonathan stood. Objection. Relevance. It goes to the petitioner's fitness as a guardian. I'll allow it. Answer the question, Mr. Cole. Reaper's face burned. I run my own garage. I rebuild cars. Do you have health insurance? Number savings about $3,000. $3,000. Shaw paused for effect. And you think you can provide for a teenage girl on a mechanic's income with no insurance and $3,000 in savings? I'll make it work. Will you? Shaw walked closer. When's Emma's birthday? Reaper froze. August. What day? He didn't know. Mr. Cole, I don't remember the exact date. August 15th. Her favorite color, blue. Purple. Her favorite food, silence. Chicken Alfredo. Shaw's voice was cold now. Mr. Cole, you don't know this girl. You knew her father. That's not the same thing. Reaper's voice was low. I know she's not safe with Garrett, based on what? Her word? She's a traumatized child who just lost her mother. Children act out. They blame their parents. They make up stories. She didn't make this up. How do you know you weren't there? You haven't been there for years. I know because I've seen her bruises. I've heard her fear. And I trust her. Shaw smiled. Trust is nice, but this court deals in facts, not feelings. No further questions. Reaper stepped down. His hands were shaking. Emma looked at him. It's okay, I don't remember my birthday either sometimes. He almost laughed, almost cried. Jonathan stood. The petitioner calls Emma Chen. Emma's face went white. She stood slowly, legs shaking. Carol squeezed her hand before letting go. You can do this, sweetheart. Emma walked to the witness stand. The bailiff held out a Bible. Her hand trembled as she placed it on top. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? I do. Judge Walsh leaned forward. Emma, I know this is scary, but I need to hear from you. Take your time. If you need a break, just say so. Okay? Jonathan approached gently. Emma, can you tell the court your full name? Emma Ann Chen. How old are you? 14. I'll be 15 in August. Do you know why you're here today? Because I told them what he did to me. Who is he? Richard Garrett, my stepfather. Can you tell the judge what happened 2 nights ago? Emma's hands twisted in her lap. He came home late. He was angry. He'd been drinking. How did you know he was drinking? I could smell it. And he gets mean when he drinks. What happened next? He asked where dinner was. I told him I'd made spaghetti, but it was cold because he was 3 hours late. He said I was disrespectful, that I talked back too much. Did he say anything else? He said I was just like my mother, that she was ungrateful too. That's when I told him to stop talking about her. And what did he do? Emma's voice dropped. He grabbed my arm, twisted it behind my back, said I needed to learn respect. I tried to pull away and he shoved me. I fell into the table. That's when I heard the crack. The crack. My ribs. 3 of them broke when I hit the table. Jonathan paused. What happened after you fell? I couldn't breathe. It hurt so bad. I was crying. He stood over me and said if I told anyone, he'd say I fell down the stairs, that no one would believe me. Did he help you? No. He left, went to his room. I laid there for 2 hours before I could move. Then I called 911. You called yourself? Yes. Why didn't Richard call? Because he didn't care if I died. The courtroom was silent. Emma, has Richard Garrett hurt you before? Yes. How many times? I don't know. A lot. Since my mom died. Can you describe some of those times? Emma took a shaky breath. He slapped me once for getting a B on a test. He locked me in my room for a whole day because I asked to see my grandparents. He broke my phone when he found out I tried to call Uncle Reaper. Her voice cracked. He told me every day that I was worthless, that my mom left because of me, that I ruined his life. Jonathan let that hang. Emma, you told Mr. Cole something about your mother. Can you tell the judge? Shaw shot to his feet. Objection. This is beyond the scope. Julie Chen's death was investigated and closed. Judge Walsh held up a hand. I'll allow it. But Emma, I need you to understand. What you say here is under oath. Do you understand what that means? Yes, ma'am. It means I can't lie. That's right. So I need you to tell me exactly what you saw. Not what you think happened, what you actually saw with your own eyes. Emma nodded. The night my mom died, they were fighting, screaming. I was upstairs, but I could hear everything. What were they fighting about? Money. Mom found bank statements, accounts she didn't know about. She said he was hiding money. He said it was none of her business. She said she was taking me and leaving. What happened then? He told her she wasn't going anywhere. She tried to walk away. He grabbed her. She pulled free. And he pushed her down the stairs. Gasps rippled through the courtroom. Did you see this happen? I opened my door. I saw her fall. I saw him standing at the top. What did you do? I ran down. She wasn't moving. Blood was coming from her head. I screamed for him to call 911. Did he? No. He checked her pulse. Then he looked at me and said, she's drunk. Fell down the stairs. That's what happened. You understand? What did you say? I said we needed an ambulance. He said no. He picked her up and carried her to the garage, put her in the car, started the engine. I tried to stop him, but he locked me in the house. How long was he gone? I don't know, maybe an hour. When he came back, he was crying, said there'd been an accident, that mom crashed into a tree, that she was gone. Did you tell anyone what you saw? I tried. I told the police who came. But Richard was there. He kept saying I was confused, traumatized, that I didn't know what I was saying. They believed him. Why didn't you tell your grandparents? He wouldn't let me talk to them. He said if I told anyone what really happened, he'd make sure I ended up in foster care. That no one would believe me because he was a cop. Jonathan let the silence build. Then Emma. There's something else, isn't there? Emma looked at Reaper. He nodded encouragement. She reached into her pocket, pulled out a phone. Old cracked screen held together with tape. What is that? My mom's phone. The one he thought he destroyed. How did you get it? I found it 3 days after the funeral. Hidden in her toolbox in the garage. What's on it? Emma's voice steadied. Audio recordings, 47 of them. The courtroom erupted. Walsh banged her gavel. Order. Emma continued. I was 12 years old. No one believed me about the stairs, so I started recording. Every time he hurt me, every time he threatened me, every phone call I could catch. I hid the phone in different places. Air vents, behind books, under my mattress. I was careful. A 12-year-old did this, a 12-year-old who had no one else to believe her. She looked at Garrett. I watched crime shows with my mom. I knew I needed evidence, so I collected it for 2 years, waiting for someone brave enough to use it. Jonathan took the phone. Your Honor, I'd like to enter this into evidence. Objection, Shaw was on his feet. Chain of custody is compromised. We have no way to verify the phone has timestamps, date stamps, and metadata. Jonathan interrupted. We can verify everything. And Your Honor, I'd like to play File 001, the first recording Emma ever made, the night her mother died. Walsh considered. I'll allow it. Jonathan connected the phone to the courtroom's audio system. Static crackled through speakers, then voices. Julie's voice, distant but clear. Scared Richard. I've found the accounts. I know what you've been doing. Garrett's voice angry. You don't know anything. Julie, $800,000. Where did that money come from? Garrett, that's my money, my work. Julie, you're a cop. Cops don't make that kind of realization dawning. Oh God, you're stealing it. Garrett, I'm taking what I'm owed. You know how much shit I deal with, Julie. I'm taking Emma. We're leaving. Garrett, you're not going anywhere. Sound of struggle. Julie screaming. Emma, lock your door. Footsteps on stairs. A terrible thud. Body falling. Silence. Garrett breathing hard. Stupid bitch. Why couldn't you just leave it alone? 12-year-old Emma's voice tiny and terrified from upstairs. Mom, the audio ended. The courtroom was absolutely silent. Several jurors had tears streaming down their faces. Dr. Warren, sitting in the gallery, was openly sobbing. Garrett was on his feet. That's not, she edited it. Sit down, Walsh commanded. Officer Garrett, sit down now. Garrett's lawyers pulled him back into his seat. His face was white. Jonathan's voice was quiet. Emma has 46 more recordings. 2 years of evidence. Would you like to hear more, Your Honor? That won't be necessary. Walsh looked shaken. This court will recess for 30 minutes. I need to review this evidence. Bailiff, collect that phone. Court recessed. Emma stepped down from the stand. She was shaking but also lighter, as if a weight had been lifted. Carol and Bill embraced her. You were so brave, Carol whispered. Reaper approached. You just testified better than any cop I've ever seen. I learned from the best. She touched the dog tag still around her neck. Dad taught me Marines don't give up. So I didn't. Jonathan pulled Reaper aside. That recording is devastating. But we need more. The brake line, physical evidence. Wrench is working on it. Should have results tonight. Tonight, the hearing resumes in 30 minutes. Then we ask for a continuance. Walsh will grant it after hearing that audio. When court reconvened, Jonathan addressed the bench. Your Honor, we request a continuance until tomorrow morning. We have a witness examining physical evidence related to Julie Chen's death, but he needs additional time to complete his analysis. Walsh looked at Shaw. Mr. Shaw, any objections? Shaw looked defeated. No, Your Honor. Given the audio we just heard, we'd appreciate time to consult with our client as well. Very well. This hearing will resume tomorrow at 9 a.m. She looked at Garrett. Officer Garrett, you are not to leave Bernalillo County. You will surrender your passport to the bailiff. And Officer Garrett, if you attempt to contact Emma Chen or any member of this court, I will have you arrested. Am I clear? Garrett's voice was hoarse. Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Cole Emma will remain in your custody overnight. See that she's protected. Yes, Your Honor. Court is adjourned. As they filed out, Garrett approached Reaper's table, leaned in close. This isn't over, he hissed. Reaper met his eyes. Yes, it is. That night, the Iron Brotherhood secured Emma at a safe house 20 miles outside Albuquerque, off the books owned by a retired Army colonel who owed Tank a favor. 24 riders took shifts guarding the perimeter. Inside, Emma finally broke down. The adrenaline that had sustained her through testimony crashed. She sobbed in Carol's arms for an hour. All the fear, all the pain, all the years of holding everything inside finally released. When she calmed, Reaper sat with her. You did something today that most adults couldn't do. You faced the man who hurt you and you told the truth. I'm still scared. That's okay. Brave isn't not being scared. Brave is being scared and doing it anyway. Is it really over? Not yet, but close. Across town, Wrench worked late into the night in a police impound lot. He'd pulled strings, called in favors, gotten access to Julie Chen's wrecked Honda Accord. Under halogen work lights, he photographed, measured, documented. The brake line told its story. A clean cut, too precise to be accidental. Corrosion patterns indicating it was done hours before the crash. Evidence of tampering that any forensic expert would confirm. At 3 a.m., Wrench called Reaper. I got it. Physical proof she was murdered. Can you testify tomorrow? I'll be there at 8. The next morning, they returned to the courthouse. Emma wore the same blue dress but carried herself differently. Straighter, stronger. Court reconvened at 9. Judge Walsh took her seat. Mr. Pierce, I understand you have an additional witness. Yes, Your Honor. The petitioner calls Enrique Vasquez. Wrench took the stand, gave his credentials. 22 years as a certified mechanic specialized in accident reconstruction. Mr. Vasquez, were you asked to examine a vehicle related to this case? Yes. Julie Chen's 2013 Honda Accord. What did you find? The brake line had been deliberately cut, partially severed with a sharp blade. Not a tear, not wear and tear, deliberate sabotage. The courtroom erupted again. Walsh gavelled for order. In your professional opinion, what would happen to a vehicle with a cut brake line? After several miles, the hydraulic fluid would leak out completely. The driver would have no brakes. At high speed, that's fatal. Could this have been accidental? No. The cut is too clean, too precise. This was deliberate. How long before the crash was this cut made? Based on corrosion patterns, 4 to 6 hours. So whoever cut that line knew Julie would be driving that evening. Shaw tried to cross-examine, but his heart wasn't in it. Can you determine who cut the line? No. But the physical evidence is clear. This was murder. Judge Walsh sat back, visibly disturbed. This is now a homicide investigation. Mr. Shaw, I'm giving you one last chance to advise your client. Shaw consulted with Garrett, who shook his head violently. Your Honor, my client maintains his innocence. Very well. Walsh looked at the courtroom. Given the evidence presented, both testimonial and physical, I'm making my ruling. Officer Garrett, stand. Garrett stood face pale. I don't know if you killed your wife. That determination belongs to criminal court. But I know this Emma Chen is not safe in your custody. The audio recording alone is damning. Add the physical evidence, the testimony, the pattern of abuse, and I have no choice. Effective immediately, I'm granting temporary emergency custody to Marcus Cole. Officer Garrett, you are prohibited from any contact with Emma, except supervised visitation if ever. A full custody hearing will be scheduled in 30 days, but frankly, I don't see that changing my decision. The gavel came down. Emma burst into tears, relief, joy, disbelief all at once. Reaper held her as she sobbed. Garrett stood frozen. Then something inside him snapped, his face twisted with rage. He lunged toward the plaintiff's table. Tank and 3 other riders intercepted him instantly. Don't, Tank said quietly. Deputies grabbed Garrett's arms. As they dragged him toward the exit, he locked eyes with Emma. This isn't over. You think you won? I'll make sure you regret this. Then he was gone. Outside the courthouse, press swarmed them. Jonathan made a brief statement while Reaper shielded Emma. Today, justice was served. Emma Chen is safe. That's all that matters. They loaded into vehicles. As the convoy prepared to leave, Ghost approached Reaper urgently. Boss, we got a problem. Garrett didn't go with the deputies. He broke away. He's running. Where, don't know, but Torres just called. Said Garrett withdrew $50,000 from his bank 2 hours ago. Multiple accounts. Reaper's stomach dropped. He's fleeing or planning something worse. We need to move Emma. Now. They formed a protective convoy. 40 bikes, 3 vehicles, all heading north to the safe house. But Reaper's instincts screamed danger. Garrett had nothing left to lose. And desperate men do desperate things. His phone buzzed. Unknown number, he answered. You think you won? Daniels Garrett's voice raw with fury. You think some judge and your biker friends can protect her forever? It's over, Garrett. Turn yourself in. It's not over until I say it's over. And I'm saying the girl dies. Tonight, you hear me? She dies, all my problems disappear. The line went dead. Reaper looked at Emma in the vehicle ahead, laughing with her grandparents, finally free. But freedom was fragile. And somewhere out there, Richard Garrett was planning one final move. The chase wasn't over. It was just beginning. Part 3, rewritten, 1,500 words. The convoy moved fast through mountain switchbacks. 40 motorcycles, 3 vehicles racing north as sunset bled the sky orange. Emma rode with Carol and Bill in Jonathan's sedan, laughing at something her grandmother said. Unaware that somewhere behind them, Richard Garrett had nothing left to lose. Reaper led the formation, mind calculating distances and odds. The safe house was 70 miles north, a fortified compound in Gila wilderness built by paranoid veterans who understood that sometimes the system fails you. Concrete walls, ballistic windows, supplies for a month-long siege. It was as close to impregnable as civilians could build. Tank pulled alongside on his bike. How long until we're secure? Hour, maybe 90 minutes with this terrain. And if Garrett catches us before then we make a stand on the highway. Reaper's jaw tightened. But we don't let him near her. They pushed harder. The last light disappeared behind mountain peaks. By the time they reached the compound gates, full dark had fallen. Ghost swept the perimeter with thermal imaging, while Doc organized defensive positions. 24 Iron Brotherhood members took stations along the walls. Emma stepped out of the car, looked up at the fortified structure. This is where we're staying, just for tonight, until we know Garrett's contained. Reaper guided her inside. There's a safe room, reinforced. If anything happens. Nothing's going to happen, Carol said firmly. We're surrounded by people who love her. Bill wasn't so sure. How many rounds you got stored here? Enough, Doc answered. And enough men who know how to use them. We've trained for this scenario. Not this exact situation, but close enough. Inside, Nina set up a medical station. Professor and Jimbo checked weapon stocks. Wrench inspected the generator and backup power. They moved with practiced efficiency veterans who'd learned hard lessons about preparedness. Emma sat on a cot in the main room watching the activity. Uncle Reaper, all these people, they don't even know me. Why are they doing this? Because you're family. And because doing the right thing sometimes means putting yourself between evil and innocence. Is Garrett evil? Reaper considered that. I think he's a man who made bad choices that led to worse ones. And now he's desperate enough to do anything. Emma's phone buzzed. Unknown number. She showed Reaper. He gestured for her not to answer. Let me. He took the phone, answered. Garrett's voice raw and unsteady. Let me talk to her. Not happening. I just want to explain. To apologize. She deserves that much. She deserves to never hear your voice again. Reaper kept his tone measured. Richard, it's over. Turn yourself in. You've got charges coming either way. Don't make it worse. Worse, Garrett laughed, bitter and broken. How can it get worse? I've lost everything. My career, my reputation, my daughter. Because of you and your biker gang. You lost it because you beat a child and murdered your wife. Those were your choices. A long pause. Then Garrett's voice changed, colder, calculated. You think you can protect her forever? You think your compound is safe? We'll manage. I've got friends too. Daniels, friends who don't care about laws or courts. Friends who'll do anything for the right price. The line went dead. Reaper looked at Ghost. Tell me you traced that. Burner phone. But the cell tower ping puts him about 40 miles south. He's close. Reaper gathered the core team. Tank, Doc, Ghost, Nina, Professor. If Garrett's hiring muscle, we need to know who and how many. Ghost pulled up his laptop, tapped into law enforcement channels he technically shouldn't have access to. Boss, we got bigger problems. DEA's been monitoring Garrett for months. There's chatter about cartel involvement. Cartel Sinaloa. Garrett's been moving product through evidence lockups. That's where the 800,000 came from. If he's reached out to them for help, then we're not facing one desperate cop. We're facing professional killers. The mood in the room shifted. These were combat veterans, but cartel hitmen were a different threat. Well-funded, well-armed, utterly ruthless. Tank checked his rifle. How long until they could mobilize? Hours, maybe. If Garrett made contact today, offered enough money, they could have a team moving by midnight. Reaper looked at Emma across the room, talking quietly with her grandparents. She'd survived 2 years of hell. She wasn't going to die now because he'd underestimated Garrett's desperation. Double the perimeter watch. Ghost, I want motion sensors on every approach. Doc prepped the safe room. If shooting starts, Emma goes there with Carol, Bill, and Nina. What about federal help? Professor asked. We could call. By the time they mobilize, it's over, one way or another. We hold until dawn. Then we move Emma to proper witness protection. At 2200 hours, Ghost sensors triggered. Movement on the South Access Road. 3 vehicles approaching without lights. Here we go. Reaper took position on the wall. 47 Iron Brotherhood members ready. Not great odds if they were facing cartel professionals, but better than most people got. The vehicles stopped at the outer gate. Reaper raised his rifle sighting through the scope. Men in tactical gear emerged. Professional movements, expensive weapons. Then he saw the vests. Stand down. Ghost's voice over radio. Federal badges, FBI. With the lead vehicle's doors opened, a woman emerged, hands visible, FBI vest clear. She walked toward the gate slowly. Marcus Cole, I'm Special Agent Sarah Mitchell. We need to talk. Reaper didn't lower his weapon. Talk from there. Mitchell stopped 20 yards out. We didn't come here to raid you. We came because Richard Garrett hired actual cartel shooters to kill Emma Chen. They're en route. We needed to secure this location first. How convenient. You show up right before the threat arrives. Mitchell pulled out a tablet, held it up. We've had Garrett under investigation for 8 months. RICO case. Tonight he contacted Marco Soto's Sinaloa cartel's Arizona cell. We intercepted the communication 90 minutes ago. She tapped the tablet. You want to see the surveillance? Reaper gestured for her to approach the gate. Mitchell walked forward, handed the tablet through. On screen, Garrett meeting with a heavily tattooed man in a truck stop parking lot. The audio was clear. Garrett, I need her gone. Tonight, make it look like an accident. Soto. This price is for the girl only. Anyone gets in the way, that's extra. Garrett, I don't care what it costs. She's the only witness. Without her testimony, they've got nothing. The timestamp showed 2 hours ago. Reaper looked at Mitchell. Why didn't you warn us? We tried. Called your number 6 times. Cell service is spotty in these mountains. By the time we realized you weren't getting through, you were already here. She met his eyes. We had 2 choices. Approach openly and risk spooking Garrett, or position our people and ensure the real threat never reached you. You used us as bait. We used the situation. Mitchell's voice was firm. The cartel team Garrett hired. We intercepted them 40 miles south. 4 arrested, 2 dead after they opened fire. There was never any real danger to Emma. But Garrett doesn't know that. He thinks his hitmen are still coming. And right now he's driving to meet them with 200,000 in cotton. Tank joined Reaper at the gate. You're telling us this is all theater? It's an operation. Mitchell looked past them at the compound. We have agents on every ridge, helicopters on standby. Garrett's meeting his supposed hitman at a rest stop on Highway 60 in 30 minutes. When he hands over the money, we arrest him. Conspiracy to commit murder, attempted murder, for hire, RICO violations. He's done. And what do you need from us? Stay here. Stay safe. Let us do our jobs. Mitchell's expression softened slightly. Mr. Cole, I know you don't trust the system. Given what Emma's been through, I don't blame you. But we're the good guys. We've been building this case for months. Tonight it all comes together. Reaper studied her. Everything in his training said maintain defensive positions. But Emma needed this to end. She couldn't spend her life running. What happens to Emma after Garrett's arrested? She testifies at trial. Then she lives her life, with you from what I understand. Mitchell glanced at the compound. Judge Walsh's ruling stands. You've got custody, Emma's safe. Reaper made a decision. Tanks stand down, let them in. Boss, you sure know, but I'm trusting my gut. He opened the gate. Mitchell entered with 12 federal agents. They moved professionally, securing positions, setting up communications equipment. Within minutes, they had a command post established. One of Mitchell's agents approached. Ma'am, Garrett's vehicle just passed checkpoint Delta. He's 20 minutes from the exchange point. Good. All units maintain position. We move when he's committed. Reaper found Emma in the safe room. She looked up frightened. What's happening? The FBI's here. They've been tracking Garrett. He tried to hire people to hurt you, but the FBI stopped them. Now they're going to arrest him. Emma's face was pale. He really tried to have me killed, yeah. But he failed, and in about 30 minutes he's going to be in federal custody. This is almost over, kiddo. Carol put her arm around Emma. Almost isn't finished. Bill stood, ex-military posture rigid. I want to be there when they take him down. That's not how this works, Mitchell said from the doorway. This is a federal operation. Civilians stay here. With respect, Agent Mitchell Bill's voice was hard. That man murdered my daughter and tortured my granddaughter. I've earned the right to watch him fall. Mitchell considered. You can observe from a distance, but you follow orders, and if I say get back, you get back. Bill nodded. Acceptable. Reaper looked at Emma. You stay here with Carol and Nina. Safe. Understood. Emma wanted to argue. He could see it in her eyes, but she nodded. Be careful. Always am. The convoy formed up. Federal vehicles, 20 Iron Brotherhood motorcycles. They rolled south through mountain darkness. At the staging area 3 miles from the rest stop, Mitchell briefed everyone. Garrett will arrive from the east. He thinks he's meeting Marco Soto and 2 associates. What he's actually meeting is 3 undercover agents. When Garrett hands over the cash, we move. Rules of engagement. Garrett is probably armed. He's desperate. If he reaches for a weapon, put him down. But we want him alive if possible. What about civilians? Tank asked. The rest stop's been closed under guise of health code violation. It's just us, Garrett, and our people. They took positions. Reaper found a ridgeline with clear sightlines, pulled out binoculars. The rest stop was empty except for 3 men sitting on a truck tailgate, the undercover agents. They looked convincingly like cartel muscle. Headlights appeared. A silver Honda Accord driving cautiously. Garrett parked away from the building. He got out, slowly looked around nervously, clutched a duffel bag. Even from 500 yards, Reaper could see the fear in his movements. Mitchell's voice over radio. All units stand by. Let him commit. Garrett approached the 3 men. They stood sizing him up. Words were exchanged. One of the agents gestured to the duffel. Garrett opened it, showed stacks of cash. Audio surveillance picking up conversation and agent radioed. Garrett's confirming the target. Emma Chen wants it to look accidental, offering $200,000. That's our cue. Mitchell keyed her radio. All units move in, go, go, go. Federal vehicles roared from concealment spotlights blazing. FBI, hands up, don't move. Garrett spun, saw the vehicles, the agents, the trap. His face showed pure panic. He grabbed for something inside his jacket. Gun, one of the undercover agents shouted. Garrett pulled a pistol, not aiming, just holding it, terrified and trapped. Drop the weapon. Now you don't understand. Garrett's voice cracked. I didn't have a choice. They were going to kill me, the cartel. They said, if I didn't pay, drop the weapon. Garrett's hand shook. The gun wavered. For a terrible moment, Reaper thought he might try to shoot his way out. Suicide by cop. Then a voice cut through the chaos. Richard. Everyone turned. Emma stood 50 yards away, having followed against orders. Nina was behind her, trying to pull her back. Emma stepped forward. Mitchell cursed. How did she? Emma kept walking. Richard, it's over. Put the gun down. Garrett's face crumpled. Emma, I never meant for... You meant all of it. Emma's voice was steady. You killed my mom. You hurt me for 2 years. You tried to have me murdered. You meant every single thing. I'm sorry. God, I'm so sorry. Then prove it. Put down the gun. Face what you've done. Garrett looked at the gun in his hand, at the federal agents surrounding him, at Emma standing brave and unbroken. The gun dropped from his fingers. He fell to his knees, sobbing. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Federal agents swarmed him immediately, cuffed him, read his rights. Miranda warnings echoed across the empty rest stop. Mitchell approached Emma. That was either very brave or very stupid. Emma watched them load Garrett into a vehicle. I needed to see it. Needed to know he couldn't hurt me anymore. He can't. Mitchell put a hand on Emma's shoulder. He's looking at life without parole. Murder, attempted murder, RICO violations, corruption. He'll die in prison. Good, Emma said simply. Then she turned and walked back to Reaper. He wrapped his arms around her. You scared the hell out of me. I know. I'm sorry. But I needed to see his face. Needed him to see mine. She looked up at Reaper. I'm not running anymore. I'm not hiding. He doesn't get that power. Reaper kissed her forehead. You're the bravest person I've ever met. The convoy returned to the compound at 0200, exhausted but victorious. Emma finally slept Carol watching over her. Bill and Reaper sat on the porch drinking coffee as dawn approached. Think it's really over? Bill asked. This part is. Trial's still coming. Emma will have to testify. She'll be ready. Bill looked at Reaper. You kept your promise to David. Took a long time, but you got there. 16 years too late. Better late than never. Bill stood stretched. I'm going to check on Carol and Emma. You should get some sleep. Soon. But Reaper stayed on the porch watching sunrise paint the mountains gold, thinking about promises and redemption, about a Marine who died saving his friends, about a daughter who waited 16 years for someone brave enough to fight for her. His phone buzzed. Jonathan, the DA's office just called. They want Emma's testimony in 2 weeks. Trial starts next month. With the evidence you've got, Garrett's lawyers are pushing for a plea. What kind of plea? Life without parole. They know they can't win at trial, Jonathan paused. It's over, Reaper. Emma's safe, Garrett's locked up. You won, we won, all of us. 3 weeks later, Reaper stood in a courtroom again. Different judge, different charges. This time, federal prosecutors laying out 8 months of evidence. Garrett sat at the defense table, orange jumpsuit, replacing his uniform. Broken. Emma took the stand. This time, no one questioned her credibility. The audio recordings spoke for themselves. 47 files documenting 2 years of abuse threats, evidence of murder. The jury listened in horrified silence as Julie Chen's voice played through courtroom speakers. As 12-year-old Emma called for her dead mother, when Emma finished testifying, she looked at Garrett. He couldn't meet her eyes. That's when she knew she'd won. Not just the legal battle, the psychological one. She was no longer his victim. She was his judge. The trial lasted 3 weeks. The verdict took 90 minutes. Guilty on all counts. First-degree murder of Julie Chen. Attempted murder of Emma Chen. Child abuse. Racketeering. Drug trafficking. Corruption. 23 federal charges. The judge showed no mercy. Life without possibility of parole. You betrayed your oath, your badge, and most heinously an innocent child. You will spend the rest of your life contemplating those failures. Garrett's last words as they led him away. I'm sorry, Emma. I'm so sorry. Emma said nothing, just watched him go. When the courtroom doors closed behind him, she took her first full breath in 2 years. Outside, press swarmed again. This time, Emma stood at the podium herself reading a prepared statement. My name is Emma Chen. I'm 14 years old. For 2 years, I survived abuse. I survived because I was patient, because I documented everything, because I waited for someone brave enough to believe me. She looked at Reaper beside her. Uncle Reaper believed me, and so did 127 other people who rode 600 miles to stand with me. Today, justice was served. Today, I'm free. Cameras flashed, questions shouted, but Emma just smiled. She'd said what she needed to say. The Iron Brotherhood threw a party that night, not celebration exactly, more like collective exhale. At the garage in Tucson, 70 people crammed into the space. Food, beer, music. Emma wore her leather jacket with the Iron Brotherhood patch. Someone had embroidered her name on it. Emma Chen, family. Torres approached her. He'd driven from Albuquerque. I quit hospital security, he told her, starting a new job next week. Youth counselor, working with abuse survivors. Because of what happened. Because of you. Torres's voice caught. My sister, she needed someone like you. Someone who refused to give up. I couldn't save her. But maybe I can save others now. Dr. Warren had come too. She testified at the trial about Emma's injuries, medical evidence that corroborated abuse. I'm joining the board of a foundation, she told Emma, training medical professionals to recognize signs of hidden abuse. so we catch it sooner. What foundation? The one you're about to start, I hope. Warren smiled. You've got a platform now. A voice. Use it. Wrench pulled Reaper aside. Expanded my garage. Added a new service. Free vehicle safety inspections for anyone escaping domestic violence. Checking for tampering, tracking devices, any signs of sabotage. After Julie, he shook his head. I can't not check. If I can save one person by finding cut brake lines, it's worth it. Detective Morrison had flown in from Albuquerque. He'd retired from APD after the corruption investigation led to 12 arrests. Joined Emma's foundation, he explained. Director of Law Enforcement Training. We're teaching cops to believe victims, even when the abuser is one of us. Especially then. Professor found Emma in the corner watching the party. How you holding up, kid? Emma smiled. I'm good, really good. For the first time in forever, I'm not scared. Your dad would be proud. I know, I feel him sometimes, like he's watching. She touched the dog tags around her neck. Uncle Reaper says that's normal, that people we love never really leave. He's right. Professor adjusted his glasses. You know what you're going to do now? Go to school. Be a normal teenager. She laughed. Or as normal as I can be after all this. You're going to change the world, Emma Chen. I've been teaching 30 years. I've seen maybe 5 kids with your courage. You're going to make a difference. 5 years passed. Emma graduated high school with honors. Got accepted to University of Arizona on full scholarship pre-law. Started a foundation called Complete the Mission, helping abuse survivors document evidence and escape safely. The Iron Brotherhood's annual memorial ride grew from 127 riders to over 2,000, a tribute to promises kept and families found. They rode every year on the anniversary of David Chen's death. Not mourning anymore. Celebrating the legacy he'd left behind. On a Saturday in August, Emma Chen stood at a podium overlooking a sea of motorcycles. 19 now confident whole. She wore David's dog tags and Julie's blue dress carefully preserved. 5 years ago, I thought nobody would come. Her voice carried across 500 people. I was wrong. 127 people I'd never met rode 600 miles because one man kept a promise. In the crowd, Reaper watched. 67 now completely gray, but still riding. Tank beside him. Doc at his other side. Nina talking with Carol and Bill. Ghost working security. Professor signing books he'd written about the case. The family that had saved Emma and been saved by her in return. This foundation helps children in situations like mine. Emma continued, we teach them to document, to record, to be brave. We connect them with resources, with legal help, with people who believe them, and we make sure when they're ready to fight. She paused as 2,000 engines revved in unison. An army shows up. After the speech, Emma found Reaper by his bike. You ready? Where to Dad's grave? It's been a while. They rode through Tucson to the Veterans Cemetery. David's headstone was simple. Sergeant David Chen, U.S. Marine Corps, complete the mission. Emma placed flowers. Hey, Dad, mission accomplished. Your daughter's safe. Your brother kept his promise. Took him 16 years, but he got there. Reaper knelt beside her. Sorry it took so long, brother. But she turned out amazing. You'd be proud. They stood in comfortable silence. Then Emma grinned. Race you home? You're on. 2 motorcycles roared from the cemetery. Emma on her custom Harley, now built to her specifications. Reaper followed, no longer terrified every time she took a risk. She was strong. She was safe. She was loved. At the garage, a cookout was already underway. Tank manning the grill, Nina bringing potato salad, Professor arguing good-naturedly with Bill about military history, Carol teaching young riders how to properly clean leather, 80 people crammed into the space, talking, laughing, living. Emma stood in the doorway taking it in. Reaper approached. You okay? Better than I ever imagined possible. She smiled. You know what the best part is? What I'm not scared anymore. For the first time since I was 12, I wake up without fear. That's what freedom feels like. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Hey, Uncle Reaper. Yeah, thank you. For not giving up on me. For keeping your promise. For showing me what family really means. Thank you for waiting, for being brave enough to survive, for giving me a chance to get it right. Emma hugged him. then went to join the party, laughing with Tank about motorcycle maintenance, listening to Doc's exaggerated war stories, helping Nina prep food, being part of something bigger than herself. The sun set over Tucson, painting the desert in shades of gold and crimson. Inside the garage, family gathered. Not blood relatives, but something deeper. The kind of family forged in crisis and tempered in loyalty. The kind that shows up at 2:47 in the morning. The kind that rides 600 miles on faith alone. Some stories don't end. They ripple outward, touching lives in unexpected ways. They multiply, becoming the kind of truth that changes how people see the world. This is one of those stories. A story about a promise kept 16 years too late. About 127 strangers who became family. About a girl who refused to give up. And about the love between a Marine and his brother that survived death itself. Some debts can only be paid in blood, but some promises can heal even the deepest wounds. This is that story. And 5 years later, in a garage in Tucson on a Saturday evening in August, Emma Chen laughed with her family and knew with absolute certainty that she was home. 16 years ago, David Chen died asking Marcus Cole to watch over his daughter. 14 years later, Marcus Cole finally heard that call. 2 years after that, he kept the promise. It took too long, it cost too much. But in the end, the promise was kept. And that made all the difference.